Hello, I'm Anthony, co-host of the We Have Issues podcast. I also host a weekly Weird Movie Wednesday in which I take a bunch of people and I throw them into a chat room and we all watch a movie together. Usually, it's one of the best, worst movies in the world. We're doing our best to go through everything that Amazon Prime has to offer, and we're having watch parties every week together, so we can make jokes and laugh along, laugh together at the silliness of all the movies. This week, we watched Leprechaun 3. Now, if you've never seen a Leprechaun movie, the Leprechaun series is much better than anyone would expect it to be. That is solely thanks to Warwick Davis. Warwick Davis's performance is just consistently incredible throughout these films. He lends a sort of credibility or gravitas to the character that you wouldn't expect from this film. Like thinking back as a kid, I never gave these films the respect that they deserved. I always kind of dismissed the Leprechaun movies as kind of hokey fun, not a big deal, but I would never have put them on a level with Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th or Halloween or Child's Play even. I just wouldn't. I never considered the Leprechaun character as being an equal to those characters, but the truth is, in watching them as an adult, I completely turned over that leaf. I turned over that 4-leaf clover, and I'm here to tell you that if there was a Mount Rushmore of horror antagonists, the Leprechaun would absolutely deserve to have his disgusting face with his adorable mutton chops and top hat right next to Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees and Mike Myers, Chucky. He deserves to be there because these movies are fantastic. But number 3, not the best one. I'll start right here. Not the best one. Watchable? Yeah, of course it is. Let's get into it a little bit. So this movie starts off inexplicably, just like so many other movies. If you've ever seen Nightmare on Elm Street 4, you would know that sometimes these characters come back in the most absurd ways, and it's you don't even need an actual reason or explanation behind it. Freddy Krueger comes back because a dog in a dream peed fire on something it's you can watch it on YouTube. It exists. It's crazy. This movie inexplicably starts with a statue of a leprechaun. I mean, we're 3 movies deep. I don't recall seeing a statue or him turning into a statue at any point. I don't know, maybe, but what though there's a statue of a leprechaun, and the statue has a necklace with a medallion on it. So the movie opens up with a very disheveled, very desperate man just hobbling into a pawn shop and dropping off a statue of the leprechaun. Now the statue has a medallion around its neck, and it's very creepy looking statues. The standard looks like the leprechaun. You could tell what's gonna happen. It's Chekhov's statue. He's gonna come to life for sure. If he didn't, it would be amazing. If the whole movie was just in that pawn shop and we're just it's just The Office, but in the pawn shop, and he just happens to be, that would be terrible, but also kind of funny. I'd watch that movie. So this man drops off a statue of the leprechaun. He gives a warning. He's like, "Don't touch the medallion." And the man who owns the pawn shop, of course, is just like, "Guess what? I'm gonna touch it." And he's like, "I know you are. That's why. I said it and I left, but my hands are clean. I said it. I said the thing." And he runs away. So of course the man immediately is just like, "Give me that medallion. I'm gonna see what it's worth." That statue looks like garbage. It looks like it's made out of literal poop. It's just a disgusting statue that's clearly not worth anything. But the medallion, on the other hand, could perhaps potentially be made of gold of some sort. So he takes it and he's just like, I'm gonna look at this thing and with a magnifying glass. So naturally, poof, the statue disappears, and the man turns around and he's like, "Oh my gosh, the statue's gone." But what's there is a pot of gold. And he's like, immediately, he does not look that gift horse in the mouth. He's just he looks that gift horse right in dead in his eyes. He's like, "Thank you for this gold." He doesn't care at all. He's not even curious. He's not where did this gold come from? He's just freaking gold. The statue turned into gold naturally. I took this necklace off and then now it's gold. That happens sometimes, right? Maybe it does in this universe. Nothing else makes sense. So anyway, the leprechaun immediately appears in the room, and he's just like, "You're trying to steal me gold." And he's like, the man hardly looked at it. The leprechaun doesn't give this dude a second of time to recognize that there are leprechauns in the world. He just Mike Tyson's his ear off, chops off his toe, and he's just nah, and beats him with a shillelagh. Takes this guy out immediately and takes the gold, and he heads out. Uncharacteristically, he leaves this dude alive. He leaves the guy alive, doesn't use a lot of magic on him. He's just like, "Yeah, you've had a rough time with me biting your ear off and such. I'll just hit the road as long as I have me gold." So he leaves, but he left behind 1 shilling. There's a single shilling left. So the pawn shop owner finds this 1 coin, and he's just like, oh my gosh, it must have been a leprechaun. I know what to do now. I happen to have this CD-ROM of mythical creatures. I'm gonna look through it and learn everything I can, because it's the early 90s version of Wikipedia on this 1 disc, and I can't wait. So he goes and he learns that leprechauns, guess what? Spoiler alert, like potatoes. So he learns that leprechauns like potatoes. He learns that like they leave pots of gold at the end of rainbow sometimes, and that they grant wishes occasionally. The info dump that you needed because no one knows anything about leprechauns by Leprechaun 3. You're watching Leprechaun 3. If you don't know what a leprechaun is and what a leprechaun's potentially capable of, and like what you needed for sure was that they eat potatoes, have rainbow gold, and grant wishes. Like what do you go back to the first movie and like learn how much they like cleaning shoes? I think that was a thing. So the movie kicks off from there. More characters are introduced. The 2 primary protagonists like come on the scene and they have their meet cute, and it's just like, okay, this is basically their rom-com, except for there's going to be like a like an angry leprechaun after them the whole time. So that's what it is. So like hijinks ensue. It takes place in Vegas, and it's just like a young guy who's giving this young woman a ride, and she's a magician's assistant. So he drives her to work, and she's like, you're too young to go in casinos. And he's like, I clearly am. But not a big deal. They let him in. They let him in. And she's like, I have 1 rule. If I get you in here, you do not gamble. You promise. And he's like, I promise. I'm definitely going to gamble. Like, why do people do that? Why does that happen in these movies? We all know what's going to happen. He's going to go gamble. No one's even going to question it. And he's going to, like, if I tried to gamble, they'd probably card me. And like, I'm an old guy. I'm old. Look at me. And they'd still be like, let me see that ID, sir. And I'd be like, okay. But not this guy. They were just like, you look like you're 12. Get in here. Give us your money. And or take our money. Hopefully not the case. So he starts placing bets and, like losing, and he loses a lot of money. He loses like $23,000 somehow. Like, it's just like, it's ridiculous. But he loses a ridiculous amount of money, but eventually gets his hands on the leprechaun shilling somehow. The main protagonist of this movie gets his hand on a shilling, and that becomes the main source of tension and conflict in the whole movie, where the leprechaun wants the shilling, and the characters have the shilling, and the characters learn that if you have the shilling in your hand and you say, I wish, your wish comes true. So this man starts wishing that, he has money. He wishes that he had better luck, and he was at the, the casino, and blah, blah, blah. So he makes his wish. So he starts winning a fortune, right? Things start going well, but the leprechaun is not having it. So the leprechaun just starts, murderizing people and just destroying their lives. And, basically he uses his magic in very inconsistent ways and beats people with his shillelagh a lot in this one. Like, it happens a lot. He bludgeons people to death more than he does anything else in this movie. But it's okay, because here's the thing that saves this movie. This movie starts pretty good, like pretty bad good. Like, so the movie starts right away is like pretty bad good. Like, we like it. Like, I was all into it. I'm like, yeah, okay. The leprechaun bit off a guy's ear, like, right away. Like, we're getting into this. I'm okay with this. And then, like, when it takes that turn and starts turning into, like, the rom-com situation, they want you to care about these characters, which I totally understand. But when that happens, you almost always know in these movies that those characters are going to be fine. Because there are really 2 ways that these movies go. They either introduce characters that you absolutely hate and want to see just devastatingly terrible, violent things happen to. They turn you into the evil gods from Cabin in the Woods, where you're just like, give me blood, So it's either that, or they introduce characters where you're like, I really hope these characters make it in the end. This was kind of in the middle, honestly, because they were trying really hard to make it, so we wanted these characters to make it in the end, but I didn't really care about these characters at all. I still wanted to see just the blood. So what happens is, there's a turn from good-bad to just kind of bad in the middle, where it's not so much fun. The leprechaun doesn't have a lot of screen time, or waiting for him. It's like, all right, it's a little too much, like, character stuff. Don't really care. Don't care about any of these characters. I want to see them all just, like magically be delicious to the leprechaun who's going to devour them. I don't know if you... So this is what saves the day. The leprechaun bites the protagonist, bites him, and spits something into him. And when this happens, he becomes a wericon. He slowly starts transforming into a very stereotypical Irish leprechaun character. He grows the mutton chops, he starts speaking with an accent, and he's obsessed with potatoes. And it is hilarious. It's so funny. His body starts changing. His face is becoming just like kind of like scrunchy and gross and like like dehydrated in a way that you can imagine, like more like kind of like all those lines, like but like more like so many lines in his face, and he's just like, oh, what is happening to me? So they bring him to the hospital, and they're like, you're becoming leprechaunified. They don't say that. They're just like, we don't know. We need to do surgeries, and this man's heart is shrinking, sir. Like, what do we do? He's reverse Grinching. So they're like, he's reverse Grinching. He's turning into a low green man. He's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. What's happened? But while he's in the room, he's strapped down. And his hand comes up, and he realizes that he can carry things, like that he has the ability to move things with his mind now. He has magical powers because he was bit by a leprechaun and also had stuff spit on him. He was like Troll 2, like just it was a bunch of like pea soup from The Exorcist, just magically deliciously making him into a leprechaun. I was so ready to watch the Leprechaun versus other Leprechaun, the Leprechaun versus Leprechaun, if you will. I wanted that to happen. I wanted the fight of end all fights, and you know what? It kind of didn't happen. It happened a little. They let them go against each other. I don't want to spoil it too much, but I will say that this movie is fun. It's not my favorite Leprechaun movie. There are so many good Leprechaun movies. Leprechaun 2 is fun. He's looking for love. It's kind of hilarious. They started introducing like rules of leprechauns and just like, why do these exist? All of these movies have inconsistent rules, and they almost never reference any of them as they go forward. They're like, oh, we kind of talked about this once, let's figure out a new rule. It's as if like Gremlins had several movies, but like the first one they were like, oh, can't feed them after midnight, and then the second one they were like, oh, can't expose them to bright light, and then we're like, oh, but can they feed them after midnight? Like, I don't know, we're not even going to talk about that. And then the third movie they're like, oh my gosh, whatever you do, don't get them wet. And it's like, wait, but did you feed them after midnight? I don't even know what you're talking about. So it's just like this weird inconsistency where like it doesn't even matter. It's just like a slow evolution of a character, and I guess we're supposed to just throw them all together and hope that there's some cohesion there. I don't know. In the first movie, I know the Leprechaun was obsessed with cleaning shoes, so much so that they were like, we can get away and like lead him by throwing pairs of shoes, and he has to clean them all. He's obsessively cleaning. He was myrtleized by a slingshot and a four-leaf clover, I believe. But in the second movie, they learn that he has a weakness to a particular type of metal, like some sort of iron or lead. I forget what it is. But then like they're like, we can explode him with this. And I'm just like, he has a lot of allergies. Like this leprechaun is not, his immune system is just like, I don't like these green leaves. I don't like this silver metal. I don't like this medallion that turns me into a statue that I didn't know we've never said previously. So anyway, so then the movies continue, and it's just like they find various ways to blow the leprechaun up or turn the leprechaun into a statue or whatever it may be. And it's all freaking hilarious. The leprechaun is magical. He is beyond like genie magical. He can do anything. He is incredible. That being said, he often gets stuck behind doors. He's looking everywhere for a shilling, and it's just simply on a keyboard slightly above his head, which is like the worst kind of short joke. So he's a magical creature who should have a magical GPS on his coins. Like he should know where they are at all times. I don't understand how they're not just like an extension of himself, and he can just like always sense where they are. That's how it feels, except for when they're less than a foot above his head and on a keyboard, like a computer keyboard, and they're gone forever. Like, he can't find them at all. He's just like, where's me chilling? And he like runs away. He's just like, I guess I'll never find it. And he's like, he's getting so mad. And I'm just like, I could have found that, and I am not as magical as him. I mean, I might be slightly magical. I don't know. I'm not gonna sell myself short, and I'm not gonna give that away to you. That's none of your business. But that being said, these movies are incredible. The inconsistency only lends to how hilarious the movies are. But these movies almost always go the route of wanting you to root for the deaths of the protagonists. The leprechaun is in the wrong, of course. He's a monster. He's a terrible creature of the night, or the day of the rainbow. He creates situations just to murder people. Like he could do anything with his magic. He really could just like save the world. But he could find more gold, but he's just like, this is mine, and like that's fine. That's his prerogative. That's his business. That's not for me to judge. I like him. But what they do is they create situations where all of the people that he's about to murder are terrible. They're unlikable. They're ridiculous. They're wishing for things that they shouldn't be wishing for. Course, you know, it's like the standard like monkey's paw situation where it's just like all these greedy people are gonna prove that they're greedy. It's Saw, but with like a short angry Jesus who's just like, Like, I'm not going to give them what they want the way they want. Like, we'll find ways to ruin this for them. So like there are times where these movies become like Wishmaster, where it's just like, I'm gonna give you what you want, but you're not the way you think, and I'm just gonna, like, a pot of gold's gonna grow in your belly, ha ha ha. And it's just like, he murders people in the silliest way. Always worth it. I love these movies. Leprechaun 3, not the best movie, totally worth watching. Totally worth watching for the Wericon alone. Totally worth watching for Warwick Davis's performance throughout the entire thing. The fact that the Leprechaun fits in so well in Las Vegas and like rarely turns heads is hilarious, and it's sensible. It makes it like it's watching him like interact with Elvis and watching him just like walk around like the Leprechaun takes disguises sometimes, and it's just like the most basic disguise. It's the Clark Kent glasses on Superman, where it's just like, everyone knows you're still a leprechaun, dude, but it works, and it not only works, like, it's effective in the movie, but it's also just hilarious to watch. And so if you're interested in watching movies that are so bad they're good, the Leprechaun series is a great place to start. You can literally just watch them in order or in any order, and it's fine. And I think that everyone would appreciate it. I think that if you haven't watched these movies in a while, you'll probably have a new appreciation for them if you check them out now, because I know I did, and I can't wait to watch the rest of them. I still have to rewatch the first one and watch Leprechaun Back to the Hood, which I've never seen, and I'm super excited because Leprechaun in the Hood was insane and ridiculous and so funny and corny and amazing. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. I'm going to do more reviews of the Leprechaun movies because I just happen to love them. And all of these movies are just incredibly impressive and consistently fun, and there's no reason to not enjoy them. So if you like this kind of thing even a little, go check it out. Don't wait for St. Patty's Day. Just go watch the movie. It's fun and it's worth it. And they're all on Amazon Prime right now, so go check them out. Join us on Wednesday for Weird Movie Wednesday. I post the link to our watch party on my Twitter at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single week. Movie starts around 9 o'clock. We wait for everyone to get in. We kind of say hi to each other and like joke around a little bit, and then we start the movie and we have fun. So join us. Come join us. Talk to us. Send your requests or suggestions for movies. If you can't join us, I appreciate you watching this, and it's really cool. I hope you get a second to watch some of these movies on your own. Like, let us know what you think. Let me know what you think. I'm always here and I'm interested. I'm always looking for new movies, and Amazon is like an endless well of like movies that are so bad they're good. So like, if you find some that you think that I might like, send it my way, because like, you never know what I miss while I'm scrolling through all the nonsense, because there is no end to the nonsense. So please don't hesitate to send me anything you'd like, and I will take a look at it. But thank you so much for watching this. Subscribe to our channel. Check out our podcast. We post new episodes every Wednesday of We Have Issues, and it's just a weekly podcast where my friend Steven and I, we talk about our various issues that we have in our adult lives that like get in the way of us making creative things. And like, we've been trying to make comic books together forever. And just recently we published our first book. So things are going pretty well. We started the podcast to hold ourselves accountable, and it's working. So I've been doing these reviews just for fun, and I hope people enjoy them. And I'll see you next week for another one. So thank you again so much. I'm Anthony, and I'll see you next time for the We Have Bad Movie Reviews. Weird Movie Wednesday movie reviews. Movie reviews on Wednesday with Saturdays. Wednesday. I don't know what to call this thing, but I'll figure it out. But thank you so much for watching. This has been Weird Movie Wednesday reviews on Saturdays.